Have you ever stared into the mirror and wondered, not with a sense of morbid curiosity, but with genuine, practical concern, how many truly good years you have left? Not just years marked on a calendar, but years filled with vitality, engagement, and the ability to live life on your own terms. It's a profound question, one that often gets brushed aside in the hustle of daily life, yet it simmers beneath the surface for many. The truth, both unsettling and empowering, is that your body is constantly communicating its status, offering subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, clues about its current operational capacity and its resilience for the future. Most of us, however, are not fluent in this silent language, often missing these vital dispatches until the whispers become roars and the opportunity for early, impactful intervention has diminished. This isn't about predicting an exact expiration date. That's a realm best left to fortune tellers. Instead, this is about understanding the very real, observable indicators that medical professionals and longevity researchers scrutinize to gauge an individual's health span, the period of life spent in good health, free from the chronic diseases and disabilities of aging. Catching these clues early can genuinely be the difference between experiencing a handful of sluggish, compromised years and embracing a decade or more of vibrant, active living. What if you could learn to decipher these messages? What if understanding these signs could empower you to make changes that not only add years to your life, but more importantly, add life to your years? In this comprehensive exploration, we will delve into 7 distinct patterns, 7 critical signs that can offer profound insights into the reservoir of healthy years you might still have ahead, particularly for those navigating life beyond 60. These are not fleeting symptoms or trivial complaints to be casually dismissed. They are significant indicators, backed by research, that reflect the intricate workings of your physiological and even psychological systems. From the very rhythm of your walk to the way your body and mind respond to life's inevitable challenges, these signs weave together a narrative about your body's current state and its potential trajectory. And here's the most hopeful part. Even if one or more of these descriptions resonate uncomfortably with your current experience, take heart. The vast majority of these indicators are not fixed destinies. They are modifiable, often responsive to targeted lifestyle adjustments, proactive healthcare, and a renewed commitment to well-being. So, whether you are personally reflecting on your own health journey, or perhaps you are a caregiver for a loved one, journey with us. The 7th and final sign we will uncover is frequently the most profoundly overlooked, yet it may quietly hold the most significant predictive power regarding the true quality and extent of the precious time you have left. Let us begin this vital exploration. The first ominous whisper, unshakable fatigue that rest refuses to banish. Our first area of focus, a sign that many prematurely attribute solely to the passage of time, is an unshakable fatigue that stubbornly persists regardless of how much rest you obtain. It's one thing to feel a natural weariness after a demanding day, a poor night's sleep, or a period of intense activity. That's the body's normal request for recovery. However, it's an entirely different and more concerning scenario when the fatigue becomes a constant companion, a heavy cloak that drapes over you from morning till night. When you wake up feeling as though you haven't slept, when your limbs feel leaden and your mind struggles to cut through a persistent fog, this isn't merely getting older. This profound and persistent exhaustion can be your body's urgent, albeit quiet, declaration. I am struggling to keep up with the demands being placed upon me. This type of chronic, unrelenting fatigue often serves as a canary in the coal mine, signaling deeper, underlying physiological imbalances. It can reflect issues such as persistent low-grade inflammation, which silently saps energy resources throughout the body. Hormonal dysregulation, common as we age, can also be a culprit, throwing your body's energy economics into disarray. Perhaps your heart is working harder than it should, straining to circulate blood efficiently, or there's an early stage of organ dysfunction, where vital organs are no longer performing their tasks optimally. The insidious nature of this fatigue is what makes it so tricky to pinpoint. It doesn't always manifest as a dramatic collapse. More often, it's a gradual slowing down. You might find yourself needing more frequent naps, feeling an uncharacteristic lack of motivation, or experiencing a mental sluggishness that wasn't there before. These subtle shifts, compounded over time, take a significant toll. Your body, at its core, operates on energy. This isn't just the subjective feeling of pep, but the literal cellular energy produced by mitochondria, the microscopic powerhouses within every cell. When these vital engines begin to falter due to advancing age, inadequate nutrition, chronic unmanaged stress, or underlying health conditions, the entire system feels the impact. Your heart, your brain, your immune system all rely on this cellular energy to function effectively. Consider Harold, a vibrant 75-year-old who for years cherished his short morning walks, a ritual that set a positive tone for his day. Gradually, over the course of a year, these walks became less frequent, then ceased altogether. He didn't complain of specific pain. He simply confessed he didn't have it in him. He, like many, attributed this to the inevitable march of age. However, a comprehensive checkup, prompted by his concerned daughter, revealed borderline anemia and a slightly underactive thyroid. These weren't life-threatening conditions in themselves, but they were enough to drain his energy reserves. With carefully managed adjustments to his diet to include more iron-rich foods and appropriate medication to support his thyroid, his energy levels saw a remarkable resurgence. Harold wasn't lazy or simply old. His body was desperately signaling a need for specific support. This is the crucial message here. If your fatigue is more than an occasional visitor, if it lingers despite what should be adequate rest or a day of minimal exertion, it warrants serious attention. It's a primary red flag that the complex systems responsible for keeping you alive, healthy, and engaged are beginning to operate at a diminished capacity. Furthermore, research provides a sobering perspective. Individuals who experience persistent, unexplained fatigue in their 60s and 70s show a statistically higher likelihood of developing cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, including memory problems, and a decrease in mobility within the subsequent 5 to 10 years. This doesn't imply that fatigue directly causes these conditions, but rather that it serves as one of the earliest and most consistent indicators that underlying processes are amiss. If this description of pervasive tiredness resonates with your experience, please don't dismiss it. Take it as a serious call to action. Engage with your healthcare provider. Discuss comprehensive blood work and honestly evaluate your daily habits. Are you adequately hydrated? Is regular, gentle movement part of your routine? Is your nutrition providing the necessary fuel, or is it contributing to the problem? How are you managing stress? Even small, consistent changes in these fundamental areas can begin to restore lost energy, potentially recalibrating your body's internal clock. You fundamentally deserve to feel truly alive, not merely awake. That was the first sign, an important foundation related to your body's core energy. If you find this information about persistent fatigue and its implications useful, and perhaps are thinking about how to apply it to your own life or the life of someone you care for, please comment with the number 1 below to let us know. Your engagement helps us understand what resonates most with you. The second subtle shift: unexplained weight loss, especially the quiet erosion of muscle. Our second point of examination delves into a phenomenon many might initially welcome: unexplained weight loss. In a culture often fixated on thinness and weight reduction, seeing the numbers on the scale decrease without active effort can seem like a positive development. However, particularly in older adults, an unintentional drop in pounds can be a quiet yet significant warning sign. And when this weight loss involves a reduction in precious muscle mass, it may point to something far more serious and detrimental to long-term health than most people realize. Why is this so crucial? Because muscle is far more than just the tissue that enables movement and strength. It is a metabolically active organ, intricately linked to your overall metabolism, your immune system's robustness, and even the optimal functioning of your internal organs. As we navigate the aging process, a gradual decline in muscle mass, a condition known as sarcopenia, is a natural physiological change. However, when this loss accelerates, or occurs without any deliberate changes in dietary intake or exercise patterns, it can be a critical signal that your body is struggling. It might indicate a breakdown in how your body absorbs and utilizes essential nutrients, a heightened state of chronic inflammation that catabolizes muscle tissue, or a reduced capacity for cellular repair and regeneration. The onset can be incredibly subtle. You might not notice it immediately. Perhaps your clothes begin to feel a little looser, or you find yourself needing to tighten your belt by an extra notch. You might catch a fleeting glimpse of your reflection and think, "I look a bit thinner," without giving it much further thought. But if this gradual shrinkage primarily involves lean tissue, if your arms and legs appear noticeably smaller and less defined, if you feel a tangible decrease in your physical strength, or if your posture begins to subtly slump, these are the moments when alarm bells should begin to sound. Let's consider Frank, a 78-year-old retired history teacher who had always prided himself on maintaining a lean physique and eating moderately. Over the span of a single year, he unintentionally lost nearly 18 pounds. He hadn't altered his diet or exercise habits, and he didn't feel overtly sick. However, he began to notice that everyday tasks were becoming more challenging. Rising from a comfortable armchair required more effort. Carrying a bag of groceries from the car felt more strenuous. His balance, once steady, now felt slightly precarious. A comprehensive medical evaluation, including a DEXA scan, revealed a significant reduction in his muscle density, coupled with a previously undiagnosed vitamin D deficiency and a dietary intake surprisingly low in protein. Once he, with guidance, conscientiously adjusted his diet to include more protein at each meal and began a simple program of resistance exercises using light elastic bands, the results were transformative. Not only did he gradually regain much of his lost strength, but his energy levels and overall stability also markedly improved. This insidious loss of muscle, sarcopenia, is recognized by geriatric specialists as one of the most potent predictors of frailty, an increased risk of falls, which can have devastating consequences for older adults, and a higher likelihood of hospitalization. If left unaddressed, it can dramatically shorten the span of your healthy, independent years. The danger lies in its stealthy progression. You're not typically in pain. You are just quietly, almost imperceptibly, diminishing in physical capacity. The connection to lifespan and health span is compelling. Numerous studies have demonstrated that older adults with lower muscle mass and diminished strength tend to face higher mortality rates. This isn't solely because of the muscle itself, but because of what its loss represents. A body that is progressively losing its intrinsic ability to recover from illness, effectively fight off infections, and adapt to the inevitable stressors of life. So, what proactive steps can you take? Firstly, and most importantly, do not casually dismiss unexplained weight loss, especially if you are not actively trying to slim down. If the scale consistently trends downwards without a clear reason, it's imperative to consult your doctor. Secondly, make a conscious effort to prioritize adequate protein intake at every meal. Protein is the fundamental building block for muscle tissue. Thirdly, engage your body in ways that build and maintain muscle, not just burn calories. Even light resistance training, performed consistently, sends a powerful anabolic signal to your body, reminding it that strength is still required. Losing excess body fat can indeed add healthy years to your life, but unintentionally losing precious muscle tissue? That could quietly, but significantly, subtract them. If you're finding these insights into the importance of muscle preservation valuable, and this discussion on unexplained weight loss has struck a chord, please let us know by commenting with the number 2 below. And if you haven't already, we warmly invite you to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell. Your support is invaluable and enables us to continue creating content designed to inform, inspire, and empower you on your health journey. Now, let's explore another crucial indicator, the third vital sign, a slowing pace and diminished gait strength. The speed at which you walk might seem like a minor, almost trivial detail of daily life, something you rarely consciously consider. Yet a growing body of research compellingly demonstrates that walking speed is one of the most powerful and reliable indicators of overall health and longevity in older adults. In fact, it's so significant that it's often referred to by geriatricians as the 6th vital sign, joining the traditional measures of temperature, pulse, respiration rate, blood pressure, and pain. The slower your natural gait becomes, the more it may be subtly signaling about the quality and quantity of the years that lie ahead. Now, this isn't to suggest that you need to be constantly rushing or aiming to set speed records in your daily ambulation. What truly matters is your natural walking pace. The speed at which you comfortably move across a room, down a supermarket aisle, or along the sidewalk without consciously trying to hurry or slow down. If you've noticed that this inherent pace has been noticeably declining, if you find yourself shuffling more than striding, hesitating before tackling stairs, or needing more frequent breaks during walks that were once easy, your body might be quietly communicating something vital about its overall condition. Walking is a surprisingly complex activity, involving far more than just your leg muscles. It requires sophisticated coordination between your brain for motor planning and balance, your muscles for strength and endurance, your joints for flexibility and range of motion, and your balance systems, including vision and inner ear function. When any one of these interconnected systems begins to weaken or become compromised, whether due to early cognitive decline, joint stiffness from arthritis, cardiovascular strain limiting oxygen delivery, or even a loss of confidence following a near fall, your gait often reflects these changes subtly but surely. Researchers have consistently linked slower walking speeds in older adults to a higher risk of mortality from all causes, an increased incidence of heart disease, a greater likelihood of developing cognitive impairment, and more frequent hospitalizations. Consider Walter, an 82-year-old widower who had always prided himself on his independence and his daily walks around the neighborhood. His daughter, during her visits, began to notice that when they walked together, Walter was falling behind more than usual, and his stride seemed less confident, more hesitant. During a routine checkup, his astute physician noted mild signs of peripheral neuropathy, a common condition affecting nerve function in the extremities, and a slight, almost imperceptible drop in his oxygen saturation levels during mild exertion. These weren't issues that Walter himself felt acutely or could easily articulate, but his slowing walking speed served as an early, objective indicator. By initiating a simple, structured walking program tailored to his abilities and making small adjustments to his medications to improve circulation and nerve health, Walter was gradually able to regain some of his former pace, along with a significant boost in confidence and control. One of the primary reasons walking speed holds such importance as a health marker is that it provides a holistic assessment of how well your body is performing as an integrated system. When your pace slows, it's rarely attributable to a single isolated issue. More often, it's a cumulative effect of subtle declines in balance, vision, circulatory efficiency, muscle strength, and even mental processing speed. This is why clinicians often utilize a simple timed up and go test or a measured walk test to help predict long-term health outcomes in patients over the age of 65. The changes can creep up quietly. You may still be mobile, still capable of running errands, but instead of breezing through the grocery store as you once did, you now find yourself pausing to rest halfway through an aisle. Instead of walking briskly to the mailbox, you take a bit longer, perhaps choosing to avoid uneven pavement altogether. This isn't merely about convenience. It's fundamentally about resilience. Individuals who maintain stronger, faster gaits tend to live longer, healthier lives because their bodies are demonstrably more equipped to handle the diverse demands of everyday life, from recovering from a sudden illness to bouncing back from an accidental injury. So, if you've observed that your walking pace has noticeably slowed, don't panic, but crucially, don't ignore it. Consider starting to track your steps, the time it takes you to cover familiar distances, and your level of comfort while walking. Engage with your doctor or a physical therapist to identify any underlying factors that might be contributing to this slowdown. And most importantly, keep moving. Even a short daily walk, performed with intention and attention to form, can send a powerful message to your brain and body. You are still strong, still capable, and still purposefully going somewhere. Because, indeed, you are. What are your thoughts on the connection between walking speed and overall health? Have you noticed changes in your own pace or that of a loved one? Share your opinion or experiences by commenting with the keyword GAIT below. We value your contributions to this important discussion. The fourth red flag: frequent infections and a weakened immune response. Experiencing an occasional illness is an inevitable part of human life. However, if you find yourself increasingly susceptible, catching every cold or flu bug that makes the rounds, noticing that a simple cut or scrape seems to take an unusually long time to heal, or requiring more courses of antibiotics than you used to, your immune system might be quietly signaling that it's under strain or weakening. This compromised immune function has a direct and significant connection to how many strong, healthy years you have left. Think of your immune system as your body's highly sophisticated internal defense force, constantly vigilant against a barrage of pathogens like bacteria, viruses, and fungi. When you're younger, this system is typically quick, sharp, and remarkably efficient at identifying and neutralizing threats. However, as we age, the immune system naturally undergoes a process of gradual decline in efficacy, a phenomenon known as immunosenescence. This is one of the primary reasons why older adults are generally more vulnerable to infections, tend to recover more slowly from illnesses, and are more likely to face serious complications from diseases that younger individuals might shake off in a matter of days. But here's the critical point. Not all immune systems age at the same pace. Some individuals in their 70s and even 80s maintain surprisingly robust and responsive immune health, while others may begin to experience significant immune compromise in their early 60s. One of the clearest indicators that your body's defense mechanisms may be wearing down faster than they should is the frequency, duration, and severity of the infections you experience. Let's consider the case of Susan, a 71-year-old who had always enjoyed relatively good health. Over the preceding year, however, she noticed a concerning pattern. She battled 3 separate urinary tract infections, endured a lingering cough that persisted for weeks after a common cold, and then unexpectedly developed shingles, a painful viral reactivation she hadn't anticipated. She didn't feel perpetually sickly, but her body was clearly demonstrating increased vulnerability. A thorough medical evaluation revealed that her vitamin D levels were low. The functional capacity of her white blood cells, key immune warriors, had slowed, and her inflammatory markers were slightly elevated. Through a combination of targeted nutritional changes to include immune-supportive foods, adopting habits known to boost immune function, like stress management and adequate sleep, and ensuring she received recommended vaccinations, Susan was able to gradually rebuild some of her immune resilience and regain her peace of mind. What Susan's experience beautifully illustrates is that an increased frequency of infections isn't merely random bad luck. It's a tangible signal from your immune system. Too many older adults mistakenly chalk up this increased susceptibility to simply getting older, when in fact, it's often a sign that is preventable, or, at the very least, manageable with proactive care and attention. Another important clue is an extended recovery time from what used to be minor illnesses. If a common cold now routinely turns into a 3-week ordeal, or if a stomach bug leaves you feeling weak and depleted for days afterward, your immune system's repair and recovery responses may be operating at a significantly slower pace than they should. Furthermore, a weakened immune system doesn't just leave you more open to acute illnesses. It also diminishes your body's ability to effectively heal from surgery, efficiently combat chronic inflammation, which underlies many age-related diseases, and even maintain surveillance against the development and proliferation of cancerous cells. That's why bolstering and maintaining a strong immune system is one of the most powerful strategies for extending not just your lifespan, but, more critically, your health span. The years you live in good health and full function. The good news is that you are not helpless in the face of immunosenescence. Even in later years, you can actively support and strengthen your immune system. Prioritize quality sleep, as this is when crucial immune cells are regenerated. Practice effective stress reduction techniques, as chronic stress suppresses immune function. Consume a diet rich in whole foods, particularly fruits and vegetables packed with antioxidants and phytonutrients. Engage in regular, moderate physical activity, which can enhance immune cell circulation. Staying up to date with recommended vaccinations. Undergoing regular blood work to identify and address nutrient deficiencies, especially zinc and vitamin D, which are vital for immune health, also make a tangible difference. Getting sick more often than your peers or experiencing prolonged recovery times isn't something to passively accept or brush off. It's a call to investigate, understand, and act. Because when your immune system speaks, it's often your future health trying to get your urgent attention. This brings us to the end of our discussion on the 4th sign. If these insights into immune health and its connection to longevity have been valuable to you, please comment with the number 4 below. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. And if you're finding this deep dive into health indicators beneficial, please consider supporting our channel by hitting the like button, subscribing, and turning on the notification bell. This ensures you won't miss out on future content designed to empower you with knowledge for a healthier life. The 5th shadow, loss of interest in life or a slow emotional withdrawal. There's a subtle yet profound shift that can occur in some individuals as they age, a change that is easily missed by casual observers, but speaks volumes about their inner world and, surprisingly, their physical trajectory. It's not always about overt physical pain or even noticeable memory loss. Instead, it's a gradual, almost imperceptible pulling away from the world. They might stop initiating calls to friends they once cherished. They may begin to skip out on hobbies and social gatherings that previously brought them joy. You might find them sitting passively through the day, lacking their former curiosity, laughter, or even the inclination for much conversation. This creeping loss of interest in life, this emotional withdrawal, is one of the clearest and often most poignant signs that something deeper may be amiss, not just mentally or emotionally, but with significant implications for physical health as well. We often conceptualize aging as a primarily physical process, something that happens to the body. However, the mind and emotional state are where decline frequently takes its first root. When you lose your sense of purpose, your intrinsic desire to engage with the world around you, or your deep emotional connections to others, the body often tends to follow suit. A robust body of scientific research has now firmly established that social withdrawal, chronic low mood, and feelings of anhedonia, the inability to experience pleasure, are significantly linked to a cascade of negative physiological changes. These can include higher levels of systemic inflammation, an accelerated rate of cognitive decline, and even an increased risk of mortality from various causes. Let's consider James, an 80-year-old man who, for years, had a lively social calendar. Every Thursday, he eagerly participated in a spirited card game with a group of close friends, and Sunday mornings were reserved for animated discussions over coffee at his local cafe. Then, almost imperceptibly at first, he began to turn down invitations. He'd offer vague excuses, saying he was too tired or simply didn't feel like it. His concerned daughter initially thought he was just naturally slowing down with age. However, beneath this surface withdrawal, James was experiencing the early insidious stages of depression, a condition that affects a significant number of older adults, often undiagnosed and untreated because its symptoms can be mistaken for normal aging. With compassionate support from his family, appropriate antidepressant medication prescribed by his doctor, and a gentle, persistent effort to re-engage him with his old routines and social connections, James's characteristic spark gradually returned. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but it was enough to make a profound difference in his quality of life and overall outlook. What James's story powerfully underscores is that emotional withdrawal isn't merely a shift in personality or a benign aspect of getting older. It's a critical signal. It may indicate that the complex neurochemical systems responsible for keeping your brain sharp and your mood balanced, systems involving dopamine regulation, serotonin pathways, your autonomic nervous system, and even your sleep-wake cycles, are potentially weakening or becoming dysregulated. Another telltale sign is when an individual no longer looks forward to things with genuine anticipation. When someone loses that inner motivating pull toward activities, people, or even the small, simple joys of daily life, their risk of overall decline rises substantially. This emotional flatness can create a vicious cycle, leading to reduced appetite and poor nutrition, increased physical inactivity, deeper social isolation, and even a further weakening of the immune system. It's crucial to understand that this isn't about maintaining a facade of constant cheerfulness. Life inevitably brings its share of sorrows and challenges. Rather, it's about maintaining a fundamental connection to life itself in its varied richness. Whether that connection is nurtured through strong family bonds, a deep appreciation for nature, engagement with art or music, spiritual faith, or active participation in community life, sustaining emotional engagement is just as critical to longevity and well-being as a healthy diet and regular exercise. If you notice that you or someone you love seems to be emotionally drifting, becoming more isolated or disengaged, please don't wait for it to simply pass. Reach out, encourage connection, no matter how small it may seem. Promote gentle movement, exposure to sunlight, which can boost mood, and meaningful conversation. The human brain, at any age, needs stimulation, a sense of belonging, and purpose to thrive. And the earlier the signs of withdrawal are recognized and addressed, the better the chances of reversing the trend and rekindling that vital spark. Because when someone effectively stops caring about life, life, in a way, slowly begins to stop caring for them. And that is a trajectory none of us wish to witness or experience, especially when timely attention and compassionate support can so often turn things around. If you've experienced or witnessed this kind of emotional withdrawal, or have thoughts on how to foster engagement in later life, we'd be very interested to hear your perspective. Please share your insights by commenting with the number 5 below. Your stories and reflections enrich our community. The 6th warning sign: slow and labored recovery from minor illness or injury. Do you remember a time when you could bounce back from minor ailments with remarkable speed? A common cold might have been a nuisance for a day or two, then promptly resolved. A bruise from an accidental bump would fade within a few days. A small cut or abrasion would heal almost without you even noticing. But perhaps now you've observed a change. That same cold seems to linger for what feels like an eternity, maybe 2 full weeks or more. That bruise remains tender and discolored for much longer than it should. A scraped shin, once a trivial injury, now feels uncomfortably sore and sensitive for days on end. These changes might not be dramatic or alarming in isolation, but collectively, this noticeable slowdown in your body's recovery process may be telling you something far more significant about your underlying health than you think. As we grow older, it's a physiological reality that our healing processes naturally slow down to some extent. Cellular regeneration isn't as rapid, and immune responses can be less vigorous. However, when this deceleration becomes excessively pronounced, it can signal that your body's intricate repair systems are operating under considerable stress, perhaps running low on essential energy, crucial nutrients, or overall resilience. The time it takes you to recover from everyday wear and tear, be it a minor infection or a small physical injury, is one of the most frequently overlooked, yet highly indicative signs of your long-term health trajectory. It offers a clear window into how robustly your body can respond to the inevitable challenges of life. This isn't merely about how quickly a superficial wound closes. It's a reflection of how effectively your immune system is functioning, how well your circulatory system is delivering oxygen and nutrients to damaged tissues, and how efficiently your cellular repair mechanisms are working in concert. When recovery becomes consistently delayed, it implies that these vital systems are lagging. And when they are lagging, it becomes progressively harder for your body to bounce back, not just from minor issues, but also from more significant events, such as surgery, a serious infection, or even periods of intense emotional stress. Consider Evelyn, a 77-year-old woman who, while stepping off a curb, unfortunately slipped and sprained her wrist. It was, by all accounts, a relatively minor injury. No broken bones, just a painful sprain. However, weeks later, she was still experiencing significant pain and found she couldn't even hold her morning coffee mug without discomfort. Her observant doctor noted not just the persistent joint swelling, but also signs of slow tissue repair around the injury. After a careful review of her diet and overall health status, they discovered a previously unrecognized protein deficiency in her diet, surprisingly low collagen levels, a key component of connective tissue, and a state of suboptimal hydration. With targeted nutritional tweaks, increasing her protein intake, incorporating collagen-rich foods and supplements, and ensuring she drank enough water, along with a course of gentle physical therapy, her healing process for the sprained wrist markedly improved. More importantly, these changes also contributed to an enhancement in her overall strength and vitality. The key takeaway here is this: if you're consistently finding that your body takes significantly longer to recover from minor setbacks than it used to, it's time to look beneath the surface. What essential elements might be missing? Often, the culprits are surprisingly simple and addressable. Insufficient protein intake to support tissue repair, not enough quality sleep, during which much of the body's healing occurs, low levels of crucial vitamins like C and D, or minerals like zinc, or the pervasive impact of unaddressed chronic stress, which quietly taxes your body's healing capabilities. Another critical factor to consider is chronic low-grade inflammation. This silent inflammation, often simmering beneath the surface without obvious symptoms, makes it much harder for tissues to repair themselves efficiently. So, if you are already managing conditions like arthritis, high blood sugar, or chronic fatigue, these underlying inflammatory states could be inadvertently slowing your recovery from even the most minor injuries or illnesses. And then there's the paramount importance of good circulation. Efficient blood flow is the delivery system that transports healing nutrients, oxygen, and immune cells to where they are most needed. If your circulation is compromised, even slightly, your healing timeline will inevitably stretch out. This is why simple measures like regular walking, which boosts circulation, maintaining adequate hydration, and reducing excess sodium intake, which can affect blood pressure and fluid balance, can all contribute significantly to better recovery, even if they seem unrelated at first glance. Healing isn't just about mending what's broken. It's a direct, tangible measure of how alive, adaptive, and resilient your body still is. The faster and more efficiently you heal from small things, the more time, energy, and resources your body has available to handle other challenges, both big and small. The slower you're healing, the more effort and resources it takes just to maintain a state of equilibrium. This subtle but critical shift can quietly yet decisively shorten the number of strong, vibrant years you have left, even if you are still generally mobile and independent. So, listen attentively to your body. If it's whispering to you that it's taking longer to get back to normal after minor events, don't brush it off. Instead, nourish it, support it, and thoughtfully ask what it might be lacking. Because how you heal from the small things often tells a much bigger and more important story about how you'll handle the big things when they inevitably come your way. This has been a look at the sixth sign. If you're finding these insights into recovery and resilience valuable, and they've given you food for thought, please comment with the number 6 below. We're always keen to hear which points innate most. And, as always, if this content is proving helpful, supporting the channel with a like, a subscription, and by hitting the notification bell allows us to reach and help more people like you. We deeply appreciate your engagement. Now, let's move forward to our final and perhaps most profound sign. The 7th, most overlooked sign, pervasive feelings of emptiness or profound disconnection. Our 7th and final sign is one that often lurks in the shadows, unacknowledged and unspoken, yet it may wield the most profound influence over the quality and even the quantity of our remaining years. It's the pervasive, gnawing feeling of emptiness, a sense of deep disconnection, even when surrounded by people. You can meticulously go about your daily routine, eat your meals, get adequate sleep, watch television, engage in mundane tasks, yet feel as though you're not truly living, merely existing. It's that strange, hollow space that settles deep within you, a silent ache that no one else seems to notice or understand. If this description resonates with a truth you carry, please do not ignore it. This silent emptiness, this profound sense of disconnection, might be one of the most powerful indicators that your remaining years are calling for a significant change, not just physically, but crucially, emotionally, and spiritually. As we navigate the later stages of life, many of us experience the loss of structures that once provided a strong sense of meaning, identity, and purpose. A long-held career may come to an end with retirement. A cherished spouse or close friends may pass away. The bustling social circles of midlife may naturally contract. The daily reasons to wake up with a clear sense of purpose can become hazy. While experiencing these losses is a normal, albeit often painful, part of the human journey, remaining in that place of profound disconnection and emptiness for too long can quietly, yet devastatingly, affect not only your mental and emotional well-being, but also your physical health and overall longevity. Modern science is increasingly catching up to what many wise elders and spiritual traditions have intuitively known for centuries. Loneliness and a persistent lack of meaningful connection can be incredibly detrimental to health. Some studies even suggest that chronic loneliness can shorten your life more significantly than well-known risk factors like obesity, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, or even pre-existing heart disease. But here's a crucial nuance. This isn't merely about the physical presence or absence of other people. It's about the quality of connection. It's about feeling genuinely connected, feeling useful, feeling seen, understood, and valued. I once knew a gentleman named George, an 81-year-old widower, who lived in a well-appointed retirement community. On the surface, he had everything one might think would combat loneliness. Plenty of neighbors, a schedule of organized activities every week, and attentive staff. Yet, in a quiet moment of candor, he confessed to me, "I feel like I'm fading away." It wasn't because his physical body was rapidly failing him, but because, as he put it, "No one really needs me anymore. I miss being needed." And that, right there, encapsulates the devastating core of this 7th sign. Feeling unneeded, feeling superfluous, is one of the most corrosive emotional experiences one can endure, particularly in later life, when your primary roles in life seem to disappear, when you're no longer the person who is consistently called upon for advice, asked for help, or looked to as a source of strength or wisdom, it can profoundly chip away at your fundamental will to keep going, to keep engaging, to keep thriving. And without that essential will, that deep-seated joie de vivre, everything else can begin to slow down. Your metabolism might become more sluggish, your immune system less responsive. Even your desire to eat nourishing food, to move your body, or to try new things can wane. This profound sense of emptiness also frequently brings with it a unique kind of fatigue. It's not the physical exhaustion that comes from poor sleep or overexertion, but a deeper, soul-level weariness, as if your spirit itself is tired, not just your body. And when that spiritual fatigue sets in, it's all too easy to withdraw further. Perhaps thinking you don't want to be a burden to others, or that there's simply no point in trying to connect anymore. But paradoxically, that is precisely when you need genuine, heartfelt connection the most. Not superficial small talk or polite pleasantries, but real, authentic connection. Being truly heard, being deeply understood, being loved and appreciated for who you are today, not just for who you once were. So, what can you do if this sense of emptiness or disconnection has cast a shadow over your life or the life of someone you care about? Start by gently asking yourself, or them, when was the last time I felt genuinely lit up inside? What was I doing? Who was I with? What activity or interaction made me feel useful, appreciated, or truly excited? It might have been something remarkably simple. Patiently teaching a neighbor's grandchild how to tie a fishing knot, baking a pie for someone who had just undergone surgery, sharing a cherished memory that brought a smile to someone's face, or offering a listening ear to a friend in need. These moments, which may seem small in the grand scheme of things, are anything but. They are moments of profound human connection. They are, in a very real sense, survival skills for the soul. Also, actively consider engaging in something that feels bigger than yourself. Volunteer your time and skills, even for a few hours a week. Mentor a younger person. Create something. Write. Paint, garden, craft. Share your life experiences and wisdom with others. When you extend yourself outward, when you contribute to the well-being of others or to a cause you believe in, you invariably stretch the boundaries of your own life, enriching it in the process. That sense of purpose and contribution is one of the most potent protectors against mental, emotional, and even physical decline in later life. Because in the end, it's not merely the number of people who surround you that determines your well-being. It's the depth of your connections and the number of lives you genuinely touch that truly counts. So if you've been quietly carrying around a persistent sense of being disconnected, of life feeling hollow or devoid of meaning, please do not brush it aside as an inevitable consequence of aging or a passing phase. It is a profound message from your innermost self, and it matters immensely. Because feeling empty and disconnected today can subtly yet powerfully shape how many truly meaningful and joyful days you have ahead. You deserve far more than just the passage of time. You deserve connection, purpose, joy, and a life that feels rich and full until the very end. The journey through these 7 signs has been a deep one. If this exploration of emptiness and the vital need for connection has resonated with you, or if you have insights on how to cultivate meaning in later life, please let us know by commenting with the number 7 below. Your experiences are valuable. As we draw this exploration to a close, it's natural to reflect on the overarching message. When we ponder the question of how many good years we truly have left, our minds often gravitate towards quantifiable metrics. Blood pressure readings, cholesterol levels, the latest life expectancy charts. These numbers certainly have their place in understanding our health. However, sometimes the most profound and revealing clues are far quieter, more nuanced, and deeply personal. They aren't always found in the stark data of a lab report. They're perceived in the way you feel when you first rise from bed in the morning, observed in the way your eyes light up or don't when you speak of your passions, and felt in the way your body holds itself when you believe no one is watching. The 7 signs we have journeyed through together, from persistent fatigue to the ache of disconnection, are not immutable predictions carved in stone. They are not meant to be sentences of inevitable decline. Rather, they are best understood as invitations, as vital communications from your body and mind. Yes, they can serve as warnings if ignored, but more importantly, they are potent reminders of your own agency. Because regardless of your current age or health status, you still possess a remarkable degree of influence over your future well-being. You still have choices you can make, paths you can take, and more power to shape your health span than you might currently believe. Many of us carry a deep-seated fear that time is slipping away too quickly, that our best years are behind us. When this fear begins to creep into our consciousness, it's tempting to retreat, to shut down, to stop trying, stop caring, stop hoping. But if there is one central message to take away from our discussion, it is this: there is still so much left for you. Not just the possibility of more years, but the profound potential for better years. Years filled with more energy, more engagement, more joy, and more meaning. If one or more of these 7 signs has struck a chord, if it has resonated uncomfortably with your own experience or that of a loved one, please do not let that recognition lead to despair or resignation. Instead, allow it to be a catalyst. Let it wake you up. Let it move you to thoughtful action. Whether that action involves consciously re-engaging your muscles through gentle exercise, diligently protecting your cognitive health through new learning, making a commitment to better nutrition, prioritizing restorative sleep, or simply making a conscious effort to drink more water and connect more deeply with others. Remember that even small, consistent changes have the power to create significant, positive shifts over time. The body listens, the mind responds, and the heart, even when weary, remembers how to hope again. So, here is a gentle yet earnest challenge for you. From the 7 areas we've explored today, pick just one sign, one aspect of your well-being that you feel needs attention. And for the next few weeks, take it seriously. Give it your focused time, your mindful attention, your compassionate care. You may be genuinely surprised and deeply gratified by how much life, vitality, and optimism begin to return when you consciously make room for your own well-being. Thank you for joining us on this in-depth journey today. We sincerely hope these insights have been both informative and empowering. We would genuinely love to hear from you. Please take a moment to leave a comment below and share one key insight you learned today. And, if you feel comfortable, how you might plan to use that insight in your own life. Your thoughts, experiences, and reflections are incredibly important to us and to our community. They provide encouragement and often spark new perspectives for others. Reading your comments truly gives us great motivation. If you found this video valuable and believe it could help others, please show your support by hitting the like button, subscribing to our channel if you haven't already, and sharing it with those who might benefit. And remember to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on future content designed to provide insightful and useful guidance for a healthier, more vibrant life. Thank you for watching, and we eagerly look forward to seeing you in the next video. Remember, the journey of self-care and well-being is indeed a long one, but it always begins with small, intentional steps taken today.